Action.
Craig.
Yes.
It's that time. What time is it?
It's time for Niche Dudette Agent. Find success in what she loves with Jill McGowan.
Ooh, let's dive in.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Hey,
Hi.
Jill.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Best,
Okay.
yeah, best response
Good.
so far to the
You think
9-year-old.
it's okay. I'm like 9 too, so it's okay.
How you doing today?
Doing good. I was watching some of your guys' videos and I noticed like everyone has cool headsets and stuff, so I feel lame. I don't have anything, like no cool microphone or anything.
You need to get a 19.
You have cool glasses.
You do have cool glasses. You need to get a 1970s air traffic controller headset with the big mic.
Comes
Because of the
around.
retro. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Seems legit.
You know, Craig's wearing glasses. I need glasses.
I can't help it. Like I use two
started.
humongous monitors, and when I do video chats, I have to like pull my laptop from behind my computer, and I'm like, this is so
That's awesome. Fun. That's
well,
it.
welcome to the insurance.
Thanks.
Done. We print it. Print it. There won't be much editing.
Is Jill number 3 Insurance Dudette?
We had Stephanie.
Right.
We had Laura. Oh,
Yep.
he froze for a second. And I think that's it. We would have had Sandra Gebhardt last week, but you had a baby.
I had a baby. And I look great. And I look great for having a baby, don't I? Oh, you can't see.
The thing is, I didn't even realize he was pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So you don't look like you were here in the 80s. However, the whole back wall is a tribute to the 80s behind Jason there in his parents' basement.
Ah, I see. Got Michael Jackson,
You may not
Pee Wee
even know who the
Herman,
balls are. Okay, you know Pee Wee. That's good.
E.T., Nintendo.
Oh, you do know E.T.
I forget that guy's
You
name.
know that one?
I'm sorry, but I know who it is. I forget that name of that. And I was born in
Alf.
'89.
Did you know that
so,
Alf?
sorry.
Oh, okay. Did you know that ALF is an acronym?
What?
ALF is an acronym. Did you
No,
know that,
no,
Jason?
no.
Or
Yes.
Bill? Alien life form.
Right.
That's what it.
Seems
So we're all learning here today. Great show.
Yeah. we're really knocking it out of the park. So
I
hey,
love it.
Jill, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, the third official Insurance Dudette on the show. So it's
Thanks for
awesome,
having me.
and I love your bubbly smile. And for anybody who's listening along, you can eventually catch this on YouTube as we upload those. We're a little behind on YouTube. The audio is easy. So why don't you just, we've read a little bit of your background and I've seen you all over the book of the Fosh. And
The Book of-
so the book of Fosh. So just tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into this and how you're an insurance dudette.
I have been selling insurance for 10 years next month.
Wow.
I was a little baby when I started.
When you were 9.
I was a tiny baby. I was like 20, or 21. And
That's cool.
yeah, I started to work for
was
State
it?
Farm. So I've done both the I guess captive thing and the independent thing, and now my own thing, obviously. But I worked at State Farm for 5 years. I worked for an agency in California for 2 years, and then I moved and I started working for an agency in Dover, Delaware.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was previously married to someone that was in the Air Force, so that's how I got there.
Yeah, I didn't even know that anybody lived in Delaware.
Yeah, there's not many. There's not many
I thought it was
people.
corporations.
But there is some things about Delaware that I miss. I lived there for 6
Really?
years. Yeah, I lived there for
Which
6
are?
years. The beach, Delaware beaches are fun and awesome.
Huh.
My
I never
people,
even. Okay.
and this is gonna sound lame, but you can totally get so much like fresh made Amish stuff everywhere. Fresh produce, fresh made everything.
Well,
So
that is not lame by any means.
I miss that because I live
That's
in
awesome.
Georgia now, and that's not here.
That's
It's
awesome.
not where I live.
Was that, the Amish would be like they make organic stuff, right? I mean,
Yep.
now that we've lost 90% of our listeners by talking about organic food, stick with us. It's healthy, but that's awesome. Yeah. So milk and eggs and all the farm stuff, huh?
Yep.
That's cool. Okay. And then you left Delaware.
So I lived in Delaware for 6 years. I worked at a state farm there for like 3 years. And then I wanted to make more money. So I started to work at a dealership that was like literally 2 feet away from the state farm that I worked at. And I started working in the dealership as a finance manager, but I was also an independent agent there.
Ooh.
So I would finance a motorcycle or an off-road vehicle. It was a power sports dealership. And then I would turn around and sell insurance on it. So
That's
I did
awesome.
that for 3 years with like 4 companies I had when I was working there.
Wow.
That was that your own agency within the dealership?
Kinda, it was theirs, but I was the only like licensed producer. I was the only one that made it to where, and when I left that dealership, they sold the whole book. So
Oh wow. Why didn't they sell it to you?
because I didn't do this yet.
Okay.
Otherwise, I probably would have bought it.
It's a lot easier than building it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so you were at that dealership how long?
4,
2 years?
3 or 4 years. I forget.
That's some intense, long, crazy hours.
Yeah. And I went to school full time for like 3 years.
Shut the front door.
Which did such a great job for my now business that I own. Getting that degree really helped.
Woohoo! Get up those student loans.
Yeah. Super great.
Yeah.
So I did that.
The ultimate business model is the university, because you don't pay taxes and the government pays for everybody to put them in debt. It's great.
And then they
I didn't give away my stance on that. College.
It was, and some of it was kind of my fault. Like, not that I didn't learn stuff in college, I totally did. But I worked in sales so long that I made more money than I could possibly ever start to make, even with a bachelor's degree and all the experience that I had.
Yeah.
Sales.
Yeah. I mean, there's arguments to go to college and the experience and all that stuff, but which are the arguments that my daughter gave me to go to college and stuff. But the school of hard knocks is, I don't know, it's the real world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's easy to think, or I don't know.
College is a good excuse to not work. I know. I'm trying to do my internet so slow right now. Does it seem like it?
Yeah, no. He's on a 300 baud connection right now.
It's the old dial-up.
You guys want to know something that's actual truth?
Yes.
I started
truth.
my business with DSL and had DSL until November of last year.
That's
really?
Great. What was the download speed on that?
Like 1.
1 whatever.
1.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking in the language that insurance agents can understand. My internet is 1. Jason's right now is at a half.
Yeah, let me get the file for this interview out of my filing cabinet.
All bad.
Hey, we're gonna print it to microfiche afterwards, correct?
Micro.
And
Okay.
I worked in a power sports dealership, and if you want to know something that's really behind, power sports is even worse than insurance in some ways.
Wow.
Hard to believe.
Well, I was still printing things on an Oki data when I started to work there. You know, the huge carbon paper thing.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of dealerships still use those.
yeah,
The dot matrix. With
all bad. Yep,
the
dot matrix.
Did you have a rotary phone?
I should have, because it would have matched.
Right. I think about 25% of the agents still have a rotary phone.
They do.
And I love you guys.
There's a lot of agents that still have really old stuff that makes my brain hurt a little bit.
It does. It does. When I bought my agency a little bit over 10 years ago, there was 30 file cabinets. 30.
Mm.
Like they had
Yeah,
to bring a big truck to remove, because I just,
Hey, do you guys want to see the filing cabinets in my office? It's that. It's
that.
and it's mine. It's
And
not
so,
my
okay.
business filing cabinet.
So after the power sports,
So I met my husband actually through that dealership because we were in a 20 group together. A dealership 20 group is just for like dealers from all around the country where you're not like competing with the person. You meet and talk about stuff and help each other get better.
oh
And
yeah,
I
because
met him through that, and he lived in Georgia. So I eventually moved down here and ensued the process of having 4 different jobs and quitting all of them and then starting my business.
nice.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that business.
Okay. So I moved here. I loved the job that I had in Delaware. I loved the people that I worked with. I liked what I did. It was fun. It was
Like
a
the
good
beach.
job.
The famous Delaware beaches.
And just like the people are cool, and you get it, like you're around bikes and people who ride bikes. You can't go wrong. People who ride motorcycles and off-road stuff are cool. They're always cool. They're almost always happy. Like they're not usually angry, so I moved down here, and
What
my
about the Hells
husband
Angels?
works. Oh
Aren't they a little angry?
my god. Well, maybe, but I think they probably get bikes from chop shops. Probably not buy it from dealerships.
Okay, so not regular bikers.
I think they're happy. I think the people that come in contact with them aren't happy.
Probably.
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
That seems more accurate.
Constructing that. Yeah. Okay, so we got cool. You're sad about leaving the cool people.
And
bike.
I tried to find a similar job. I did like a warranty admin thing for a few weeks, and that I hated working for that dude, so that had to stop. And then I started at a Harley Davidson dealership. Oh, I did cars for a little while. Nope on car dealerships. That's a nope. That was terrible. I pulled up at my house and it was like midnight and I had to be there at 8. And I was like, nope, no.
It just never ends.
Not doing this. No. And you can't, like, it's not, I don't want to bash any companies, but it probably would have been a better experience if it wasn't an AutoNation store. Like
Really?
they suck.
I guess we're not going to get them as a sponsor. Great.
They did that for a little while, and that was
Cut
terrible.
them off.
Yeah, that was terrible. And then I worked at one Harley Davidson dealership that Harley Davidson has like the best software systems. Their credit app system talks to their like menu system where you pitch like warranty and stuff like that, and talks to their point of sale system, and you can push data in between the two, and it all works.
It's integrated?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's different programs, but they work really well together. So now I'm in Georgia. I moved to Georgia to be with my husband, and people are like, "No, we just print still." I'm like, "Why? Why?
You're backwards again.
Like, why are you? Why? Like, we don't understand how to use that." I'm like, "Okay, maybe you should learn because it's really awesome." So I quit that one, and then I took a salesman from that one and started to work at another one. And this is a smaller dealership, and I told it was like it's a small town dude that owns 2 dealerships, and one of them's like a satellite dealership. So I started to work at that one. They were literally not making any money. So I was like, look, let me be the sales manager and the salesperson for now, and the finance manager, and I'll do this much on the front end of the deal, so the profit of the bike, and then on the back end of the deals, I'll sell X amount of gross profit. And they were like, okay, little girl, we'll pay you like you want, and you can go ahead and do that. So, and they even like got the salesman and paid him different. And so then we crushed our pay plan 3 months in a row. And then they cut my pay like 25%.
They're like, oh, she's performing.
We're scared. He told me, he's like, you would make more than my general manager at my other dealership. I was like, cool, can I work there too? Like, let's do it. So I quit.
That sounds like something that happened in our world. They created a huge pay plan. People crushed it, and then they had to change it.
Which
I
at some point,
I won't make any references to any.
at some point, I get the fact that you have to restructure a pay plan, especially in a dealership when you go from selling 10 bikes, 15 bikes a year to selling 15 in a month. Like, I get it. But I was making a normal pay for that kind of a position, and they cut it back. You know, they're like, oh, we're scared. Making too much money.
I mean, but you're growing. They're still making the same money.
Correct.
So why does it matter?
Correct. It was really dumb.
Maybe they didn't like the little girl pulling in more than they were.
Well, and I needed that like blow to make me super mad to like start my business, start my insurance.
There you go.
So
right,
like, I appreciate it. I'm still really good friends with the general manager there. She's real cool, and like, but I needed that to happen.
Yeah.
And now, do you insure them?
Nah. Well, yeah, not the dealership, but yeah, a couple people in it.
That's awesome. So take us then past that. How did you?
So I got mad, and then I was like, I'm starting an insurance agency. I've been doing that forever. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it out of my house, and I ain't going to get an office, and people are going to give me appointments, and it's going to work great. So that was fun. The first year was awesome. When people ask what first year as a scratch agency is like, I tell them I cry under my desk a lot. Because it was really, really hard. And if I didn't have the experience with like Foremost and Dairyland and Progressive, like they wouldn't have done it for me. They're like, no, you need a commercial address. You have to have a commercial address. I had lots of companies tell me that in the beginning, but in September of 2017, I got my first 2 appointments and started selling.
Nice.
And now I have, I don't know how many appointments, but I got Allstate. So that was like my super win. I was like, ha! Because they told me that they would only give me power sports. So like, you only get power sports. We will never give you a full appointment ever because you work out of your house, and that's weird to us. So well, now I have Georgia and Alabama and everything that they offer. So
nice.
I got a fun question for you that'll be fun for our listeners. So you're in, you got Allstate. What's your commission with them?
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to say those words. Am I allowed to say that?
To spit his stuff out of his mouth. I don't know. Are you allowed to say it?
I don't know. I'm not saying what. I don't even know what company we represent.
No, I don't
I'm
want to
just
get in
asking.
trouble. They're too crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can talk about what you make.
I don't know.
Is it? How about this?
Yeah, charades.
If, I'll say a number, and if it's that number, then blink.
What?
15.
What?
15.
I think Craig.
For the record, Your Honor, she
Wow.
just. Oh, I don't know. You got to watch it on YouTube if you want to see.
I didn't. You
Yeah,
don't know what I did.
7 months when it finally comes out on YouTube. 10 months. I got 4 kids
It
at
was-
home.
She either nodded her head yes or she shook her head no. So you can.
And we just won't ask any more of the numbers, so that's a good indication. Anyways, I thought that would be fun.
That is fun.
Yeah.
Is that on upfront and on renewals? Interesting.
Interesting.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
For
Now until somebody hears
now. Until
this.
somebody changes it.
Oh,
Luckily, there was all of that jibber jabber leading up to this point, where likely it's been turned off.
Yeah. They're
Right.
like, oh, they were talking about organic stuff. Nah.
yeah.
Gone. So the one that hung it out for that part just got the big payoff.
Why is that a hot question? Why?
There might have been changes that happened recently with on the other side, on the captive
Okay.
side.
Okay, because I've never I know that Allstate's moving when I first started, they treated me like a redheaded stepchild, and it was absolutely terrible.
Oh.
It's like I had a person, it was really bad. I had somebody so they short rate motorcycles.
Oh
They
man.
short rate motorcycles when canceled within a certain amount of time and certain whatever.
Right.
I wanted the breakdown for how that person owed what they owed when they canceled their
Oh,
policy.
come on.
They would not give it to me. And I was like, okay, well, I want the wording in the contract where it says that's how you do it. So that way I can do it. They literally gave me the equation and then said, you have to figure it out.
That's like asking Zuckerberg which people see your post. Mark, I want to know exactly how the posts get served to people.
It's all bad.
They'll
That's
just
crazy.
take the sip of the water, the way.
So it was a bad experience on the indie side, and then now they're treating you like.
No, it still kind of sucks. I'm just better at it. I'm just better at it. And honestly, my rep is pretty cool. He's a cool dude. And if he can't help me, he at least puts that information in the right hands of somebody who will,
I gotta get his number.
He's a good help. Yeah. He's only Georgia. He just got more territory, but he's just down here. Are you guys in California or somewhere over there?
I'm in
Yeah,
California.
I'm in Arizona.
Okay. 3
How did you
hours.
Put that together.
The 3 hour difference.
Oh,
And I used to live in California, so
I've been
all right.
everywhere.
So you're in San Diego?
I lived in Fremont, which is
Is there a base there?
it's in the San Francisco Bay. It's in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah. Okay.
25, 30 minutes from San Jose.
So it's super cheap.
Very, very.
Right.
Mhm. My first apartment there was
$100
$1,300 a month, and that was 11 years ago.
That's not bad. That same apartment is probably $4,000 now.
Double. It's
Yeah.
it's double now. Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Okay, so you have you go, man.
You go.
Okay. So you're in addition to the agency, you're also doing some other stuff? Or is it just the agency?
I'm just doing insurance.
Okay. And you're big on niche.
Yeah. I
Niches are in the niches.
Yep. And it let me honestly, the first week that I started my business, I called some agencies around here just to like see if they would answer some of my questions that I had. And the first guy and the only guy that I called told me no insurance companies do things like that around here. And when it doesn't work out for you since you quit your job, give me a call and I'll hire you as sales.
Ah, that's nice.
So that was cool.
So that he was saying he likes that idea and wants you to come and do that there.
Probably because I'm a dumb millennial. So
a lot of these companies, pardon the language, keep dipping their leather in horse shit, right?
Oh, am I allowed to cuss?
Huh?
Am I allowed to cuss? I've been being good.
Yeah, why not? You just have to check the little
I
box.
try not to because people get demonetized when you curse. So
Monetized.
We're not monetized.
I know, but
you get we're not monetized.
It's okay.
Thus not reported on our thing.
Dude, I think Hulk Hogan just left your office in the background, Craig.
He rides, doesn't he? He rides for sure.
Yeah, he rides.
Let me see. What do you
Super
like,
long.
hey, do you ride?
Yeah.
Or he has a Harley Davidson F-150.
Do you see what he's driving?
He's stepping into a little. Let's see.
It's a clown car.
Really?
Really? There he is. Yeah, that's.
Are we going to have to blur him out now?
No, I got him to sign a waiver.
Is he going to leave your agency after hearing us laugh?
No, he loves it. He loves it. There's Jazz.
He has a good look.
Well, he's English. I mean, what do you expect?
Oh, he's English. I didn't expect that either.
Well, top of the morning. He says top of the morning to you, Craig. Top of the morning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not morning there anymore. It's 12:30 for you guys.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So the niches. What's your niche? What do you go over? What?
Power sports.
Power sports. Is that like your lead and then cross sell the rest?
Yep. Yeah.
And you say niche, like lead with something that's going to be the honeypot.
Yeah. And it was my target market too. So it's a niche, but it's also is my target market. Like my people ride motorcycles, like, and do have like adrenaline junkie type tendencies. Like that's the customer I want. I want
because then you can talk.
And they don't get on my nerves and call me every 2 minutes for dumb stuff, like if you want to keep or like the majority of them will text me, like it's the best. Yeah. I answered like 19 questions on Tuesday morning and I was like, I haven't talked to one person. Like, somebody call me, I'm lonely. Why does it text you guys?
That's great.
You know your cell phone number?
It's VoIP. It's an app.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Which VoIP?
So here's a little nugget for anyone who's still listening. Never, ever, 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 ever buy Verizon One Talk ever. It's terrible. Verizon, I hate you for that app. It sucks.
You're not using Verizon now.
I'm in the process of getting demos to switch to VoIP systems that integrate into my CRM. So that way, like when somebody calls, their contact comes up and I'm like, yo, that's Kian. Let me look at his stuff real fast.
Boom. What CRM?
Yeah.
What CRM are you using?
I use QQ Catalyst.
Oh. I
tried like 19 CRMs before I got to that one. So if anybody has any questions about CRMs.
Did you check out Austin Moore's? What's his based off? Yeah, Austin Moorhead's. What's his based off of? Not Omniport.
And it's not Brinks. No, that's a different one.
Never mind.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's okay.
I haven't slept much.
I was thinking how you say instead of saying niche, you say
Niche?
but then if you say the niches are in the reaches are in the niches.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't. But like niche is like, I feel like not the right way to say it because it's like got that fancy little thing over it.
Yeah. Niche.
I think it is niche. Isn't it really supposed to be niche?
You can do it both ways now because the dictionary wants everyone to be accepted.
So hence
When I run too hard, my niches hurt. Oh boy,
this is good.
Evolving.
This is good. So
All right.
what's some good advice that you would give somebody who is struggling, and talk about the niche or niche, whatever, and how would you, what advice would you give?
I did what I think people make it too complicated a little bit when they're like, okay, like where am I getting leads from? You know, like what stuff do you do? Like besides selling insurance, like what do you do? And it's not just let me go find someone who is a real estate agent, like because sometimes those relationships suck anyway. So it's like there's other ways to do it. You can get leads from what you love because you want that to be like your target market anyway. I want to deal with people I love. People I love ride motorcycles. So, and I worked in a dealership, and those were like I kind of set things up kind of weird. Like now I sell insurance in nine states, and some of those states, like I can still only sell power sports stuff, you know, but it's because I'm dealing with dealerships. Like one of my biggest dealerships that I deal with is a BMW dealership, and they're in Maryland. So they get people from like Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Virginia. So, and I also work with the dealerships. I work with my old dealership in Delaware. It was like so easy of a transition for them. Like, oh, we already made you do this. So I work with them too. And I've picked up just a couple more just from people talking about me. And, you know, like, hey, I'm not going to fax you a binder. I'm going to send it to you in 5 seconds because you need it for the bank.
Yeah.
You bought something that's $20,000 and financed. Now figure out what you're good at.
So you're not buying leads. You don't use leads, and you're just it's those relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't buy anything yet. And I haven't figured out Facebook ads yet, so don't ask me about that. I still can't get. Every time I run one, I make a little bit more than I put in, but it's still not like how people are talking about, like, I got 56 leads and spent $100. I'm like, how in the shit? How did you do that?
The pixel.
I'm working on that. And see, that's another thing too, is like, I'm also like a super huge nerd, and I have been coding since I was like 11. So I built my own website, and I'm like working on connecting my Facebook pixel. And it's like, I don't have to pay. Sure, in the micro amount of these 3 years, it sucks ass because I'm not paying anybody to do it, but I'm also making less money because I'm building these processes and shit in my systems because I know how to do it. And I don't need help. But I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. It's cool for me to be able to code my own shit. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody else to do it anyway. Not right now, at least.
Yeah.
I don't have that kind of money.
You will.
I will. Yeah, I totally will. If you can give yourself 3 good years of sales and being scratch and really busting your ass, like I'm on track for my 3rd year of sales to make 6 figures. Tell me a job that you went to where you could make 6 figures in 3 years, because I didn't find any unless I was getting
starting from zero, right? Yeah. Like starting from zero. I mean, you in essence paid yourself less than minimum wage and went from that to 6 figures.
And I still do, because like now I pay my sister, and it's cool because like she just had a baby, and like I don't really need to pay myself anything. I get to pay my whole cell phone bill out of my business with non-tax income because every freaking line on it is for my business. It's my business expense. So you find ways, if you're intelligent enough to look into those tax kind of break ways where you don't really, people get greedy. I don't need very much money. I'd rather pay my sister and be able to pay bills out of my business and still be broke. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, my sister gets to stay at home and work and make money. That's cool.
Yep. No, I agree. It's all about putting it back in for the get that snowball bigger.
Yeah, it's cool.
Build the snowball. Who cares about the take home right now?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fun. You're creating something.
So I think that the best takeaway from that is like there are other ways, right?
Yeah.
And niches, whatever. I cannot not say both now. Is definitely a great way to go about it. That's low cost and kind of a DIY. And to your point, until you are making the 6-figure, hopefully 7-figure, income, then you can start farming out a lot of that stuff. You got to grind it out for a while, at least to figure out systems and processes, right?
I recently had the opportunity to evaluate somebody's book that they're wanting to sell. That is a couple miles up the road from me, and my good old Allstate rep connected us, and I literally didn't buy it because of the fact it's a huge mess. And she wants just like too much money, and it would make me want to a little bit maybe want to kill myself. There's like 9 filing cabinets in there. And I'm like, I don't have, and like all of her expenses were weird as shit. I'm like, why do you spend $115 a month renting computers?
I know,
or
right?
$110 a month on a yellow page.
Or like a weird
Yellow
like
pages.
postage.
Just not at a point in my business or like sanity to where I could even accomplish doing that.
That's nuts.
It's crazy. There was an agent down the street from me that had crazy expenses on like postage meters and renting all kinds of office equipment, had some sort of printer in the office that he was renting.
Oh my God.
What is going on here? This is
I literally just bought like an i5 desktop for $500.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, why? I just don't
And they're paying $500 a month for a printer. $6,000 a year.
And like in paper, and like I'm just like, paper?
Right.
Okay. And it was like, she was wonderful and it would have been cool, but the amount of work that I would have had to do to make it match my book, nope. Because I can create that revenue in less than 18 months. So
you don't want to go through filing cabinets?
Nope.
Well, if you bought it, you could say, before I take over, make sure these are all gone. Get rid of them.
Just burn them.
Burn them, and who knows how that happened.
Burn it. But it was
the files weren't here. I bought it.
Independent agent's office, older, not necessarily like newer. Explosion of paperwork everywhere. There's stuff everywhere. I'm just like, I don't know how you function.
No. There's no way. There's no way you can. At least not at the speed that everybody else can.
No, I would die. Because I would trip over some of the junk or the filing cabinet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What is the best piece of advice anybody ever gave you?
Nobody gives a fuck.
Okay. And when did you learn that, and how did you apply that?
So I was actually like had a little Beachbody side hustle. And that's kind of how I got the idea of like how I eventually want to scale my business and stuff, Yeah. But and I watched Gary Vaynerchuk, of course, whose mouth did that come out of, Gary V. And I got to see him, like, the first time I ever saw him was, like, at a conference where he was talking. And, like, I went back to, like, our hotel and I was like, I'm a piece of shit. Everything I do sucks. Like, I was, like, crushed. Like, I suck. I'm horrible. I'm not doing anything good enough. I'm not doing anything like I want to do, and like nobody cares except for me.
Yeah.
Oh, so hard
But
on
I
yourself.
started to change the way that I did stuff after that.
How so?
Not people's opinions don't mean anything to me. And I mean, not that I don't take into consideration stuff people say, because I do, but if it's some kind of negativity or whatever, it's just gone. Like I'm just nope. I just don't have time for that kind of stuff.
Haters don't hate.
Yeah.
Would
Well,
you say
I realized that my goals were lame, and it made me like go through, I called it like a quarter life crisis. I had a quarter life crisis.
Wow.
so would you say that you were more like opinion driven and now you're more results driven?
I've always been very results driven. I feel like I didn't necessarily take things that people said into consideration all the time, but I don't think I acted as loudly enough, like in the execution of my goals, because I'm worried about the way that people see me, because I'm loud and I cuss and I'm weird and I look like I'm 12 and I'm 30. So, you know.
You know what, Jill? It's amazing. I mean, you figured something out that most people may not even ever figure out their entire life. Right.
And I get to help my family do it now, which is even cooler.
Yeah, that's fun.
My mom loves Gary Vee. She hated him at first. She's like, he's so cussy. I'm like, me too, Mom.
You're fucking A.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is there anything that we didn't ask or anything that you want to share with everybody?
Everything is a lot more difficult than you think it's going to be.
And on that, we're out.
Bye.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
good. Fun.
That was the number one thing that I think I learned owning a business, was like, I thought, you know, I compared what I did in sales as just an insurance agent to what I thought I was going to be able to do. And like, no, it's not the same. When you're the only producer and you're paying bills and you're building the processes, like you can't do the same thing. You were just selling.
Yeah, or even expecting the day to go as you planned, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're going to get sideways because the day doesn't, I'm going to lay it out perfectly and follow this thing. I mean, no.
Yeah. When I just had a customer, I kind of attract young business hustlers, so I get to write a lot of commercial insurance that way. So, and that's literally from the internet. Like that's what I do on the internet. That gets me those kinds of leads. I wrote 2 policies today completely just from being on my Facebook story and talking to people in my inbox.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but one of my customers just canceled his whole business because he sold it less than 8 months after he started it, because he had an incident where he was really scared that he might get sued for something and have to make an insurance claim and stuff. And he stopped completely. Like you have to have the stomach to take on the kind of day-to-day risk that you take on having any kind of a business.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I was in the airport yesterday, and I was just hearing this old couple reading something called a newspaper. It was a fossil newspaper. Anyways, and they were just complaining, like, "Oh, all these jobs are taken. All these jobs, like the whole world's gonna end." And it's funny, like you being a little bit younger, millennial, and dude, you're writing policies from the internet, from like cruising the internet, like that's.
I don't buy leads.
Yeah, that's really what's going on. And then you have all these older agents that lived in a different day and age where it's like they're still stuck in their old methods, whatever it is, and they're complaining, it's impossible to sell these days. It's like, not really. It's just different, right? What did older insurance agents do? Talk to people. What do you do? Talk to people.
Talk to people.
Why is everybody so stuck on the exact method? You know what I mean? Like, talk to somebody on the internet. You can talk to a lot of people.
The carriers are still stuck in that mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't control that though.
Nope.
Cool. Well, this is awesome and fun.
Yeah.
This is a
Very
good one.
fun.
Thanks for having me on. You guys are hilarious.
Yeah, we totally appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. If anybody is in Delaware, or Georgia,
Alabama, Virginia.
Do you offer any kind of courses for insurance agents?
So I'm in like this mastermind group, and because I have to, because I literally I don't leave my house. I don't talk to anybody except for my customers. So sometimes I need people.
Yep.
So I joined a mastermind group so I can conquer bigger goals, I guess. And he told me to do that. And I showed him when my sister started working for me, she's like, I guess I made her like my office manager. She's all my back end stuff. Eventually, when her daughter's a little bit older, I'm going to have her answering the phones and she wants to get licensed and do changes. Like I made her step-by-step processes for how to use QQ and what I needed her to do, and like screenshotted and put it. And I've done all of those trainings, I guess, in Google Docs. So it's all cloud and protected and safe, and I just send her a link, and it's like, here, this is how you do this bill pay, this is how you do this data for this crap. So yeah, I want to, and like really, like one day I think, like for the future, like I eventually want to get my CFP. Like I've been licensed to sell life for almost as long as I've been able to sell PNC. I just don't do it a lot. And I want that to be something that I do, and I want to help people estate plan. But as for scaling, I want people to be able to work from wherever they want, just like I do, and create that kind of an atmosphere where it's like, hey, here's us going through it line by line with the Google Docs. I recorded it on our Zoom call when I was sharing our screen, like that's like what I know I can do it. I'm just not ready for anybody to work for me yet.
that brings on a whole nother set of challenges. Yeah.
Well, if you ever wanted, so another person that we had earlier on an episode was Wesley Anderson, and he has something called Agency VA. It's virtual assistants that'll help you. Some are even licensed. That's another avenue. That's
sort of pseudo employee.
I've had people tell me about that too, and that they like it.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple of people that have stuff like that.
What mastermind are you in?
It's called Lead with Integrity is the Facebook group. It's my friend,
cool.
Louis Rahil.
Nice. Who?
His name is Louis Rahil.
Oh, okay. It kind of cut out or something.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't even being funny.
I love mastermind groups. I love people that try to push each other to get further and do things that we think that we can't do, even though we can do them. It's just idiots tell us that we can't.
Well, we have to read a book too. So like I not that I don't like read, but I mostly just read about stuff I need to do. So reading like additional personal development stuff. And it's like, I'm really, really competitive. So I'm like, I'm going to read way more of this book than everyone else. I'm going to work way harder, because they're all like, well, I finished this and not this. And I'm like, I did everything I said. It's like not insurance agents or anything. I'm just like competitive. I'm like, you have to do it. They'll know you did it, and you'll look like a little bitch.
It's all about audiobooks. I can't stand.
I don't read.
I don't. I audiobook it up.
Me too. I love audiobooks.
I need to do the audiobook thing, because I start reading and I fall asleep.
Yeah.
Audiobooks are great. Really I listen to like 30 to 45 minutes of an audiobook like every morning.
That's awesome. I think everybody should.
Yeah. It rules.
Whole bunch of nuggets at the end, huh?
Just nuts. Like right when we say we're going to end.
Barbecue sauce.
Boom. Barbecue sauce on top.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Yeah.
So there's something that is going on in insurance right now where people are pushing, like, it blew my mind, and I just wanted other insurance agents' viewpoints on it. Like,
Sure.
insurance agents being the ones who own their data. And like, because Facebook owns all their data and they get to monetize their data. Like, insurance companies wouldn't have the customer data without the insurance agent. And it's like, it's very, I don't know, it like blew my mind. I was like, what? I'm just trying to find processes that work on the internet. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, the carriers are very protective of the client data, right? But who brought them in? And it is an interesting thing that
They'll never give it to agents.
Yeah.
It blew
There's
my
no way.
mind.
Yeah, because at that point they have to have the leverage, right? It would be insane if they gave us all the data. But it gives us a good idea of knowing that. I can almost say I'm 100% on that. I mean, but anyways, we just have to collect our own data. So as systems become more and more accessible, that we can,
Yeah.
really see all those touch points and analyze them, and that's our job. And I think that in any business right now, it's data collection and analyzation and marketing is the number one skill that everybody has to have in business.
I agree.
especially as you scale and you have that volume, you have to know those little
Yeah.
micro changes in the process. I mean, are everything,
Yeah.
right? And watching carefully. If you're buying leads, like Jason's a heavy lead buyer.
Mhm.
It's all internet leads, you know.
I loved internet
And
leads. When I worked at State Farm, that was that's all I did.
And I have Facebook leads, and it's just, we all do different. We have a different way to skin the cat, but it all comes down to that activity, tracking the activity, and then looking at the ROI against what went into that activity. Right now, you're just putting time in, which is arguably the best or the most precious resource, but it doesn't cost anything aside from your time, right?
Yeah.
Everything either costs time or money. So it's
Yeah.
good to know wherever you're at, how to leverage that, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and one of the things, like, I see like that viewpoint, like I see it, and I understand where they're coming at from a direction where we're limited to the kinds of like Ivan's being kind of not that great, which I haven't had too much of an issue with it. I wish it did a little bit more stuff, but like they're saying, like, if we had control of our data, like we could control that. But it's like, why has nobody else made something? Like, the whole reason I bought QQ Catalyst is because Vertifor bought it. And Vertifor works good with Ivan's, and Ivan's just shoots right into my CRM. Sure, some of the data is messed up, but that's why I hired my sister to fix the data. Because if an insurance company is like, we're pulling your appointment, I have my customer data for that specific company, and I can immediately export it. So it's like, I feel like I do still kind of still mine, right?
I think that part of the data is yours. I meant more of like behavior. Like, you can analyze behavior based on movements. Like, when do agents call, or when do customers call? At what point do they open emails? Who's actually reading emails? Like, you can figure out exactly what people do on patterns. And I think that that's what I think that that's more of the conversation, that the carriers know and analyze that data, and we don't do it. Yeah.
Okay.
But we can start getting that as these systems become more and more sophisticated. We can get a little bit more of that on the front end. But I think that that's important to know and to realize that's where we need to get.
Yeah.
Because if you know exactly, like, hey, this literally, like, this word didn't work in an email, or this call didn't work, or what's the most efficient way to cross sell that life policy? Like, you know what I mean?
But to all of this, though, that's so interesting about who owns that data. You buy the lead, right? You pay EverQuote or whoever, right? Money. They give you this person's information, right? As soon as they enter this ecosystem, that's the logo. as soon as they enter that, it then becomes their data, right?
Yeah.
So are we allowed to not have it anymore over here, or is it supposed to be all here? But we paid for it.
Yeah. We're
That's
just
why
sales-
it blew my mind. I was like, this all blows my mind. I don't know, guys.
Well, and Jason says, yeah.
No, I mean, we're just salespeople for them. That's what we are. Like, it
Yeah.
has to be what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way that I like left that conversation was like, I'm a salesperson. I'm finding the ways that I feel like best help me interact with my customer and get to the end goal. So I can.
Yeah. Boom. That's it. And if we did have that data, are we going to sit back and analyze all that and come up with those systems? Probably not.
Yeah.
Or I mean, yes, at some point, but
Yeah.
like, I mean,
We just got to keep selling.
that's
Yeah.
it.
So,
That's
yeah.
kind of how I feel too.
Right.
Every
Well-
industry I've ever been in has been behind. Like I understand like the want for it to be better, but there still is like decent programs out there for us.
Totally. Yeah. It's almost not worth talking about.
Like just it just like was a really, really different perspective. I was like, what?
That's funny. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks guys.
Appreciate you. And this was a great one.
This was good.
Thanks guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
55% of insurance sales producers say that they have had little or no sales training. Us agents focus on marketing to drive activity and often overlook the sales presentation. Improvements in mindset, shifting focus, rapport, needs diagnosis, value building, creating buy-in, and overcoming objections lead to drastically better closing numbers. The solution? Enroll your team in September's Sales Summit offered by Agency Vault. We will even assess your team to see which of their sales steps need the most improvement. Head to agencyvault.com to sign up before it's full.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.